Hi everyone. Today I am chatting to Ruth Perrin, Inglewood local and one-stop shop for all things marketing. Now Ruth works with people and brands all over the world, but a lot of people, a lot of locals are going to be most familiar with the work that Ruth does for the Inglewood night markets and Inglewood on Beaufort. She is the woman behind all of those beautiful graphics and frequent posts and communication that they put out. So welcome and hello, Ruth.
Hello, thank you. That was a startlingly brilliant intro. I feel like I'm going to be slightly underwhelming after that, but thank you. Hi everybody as well. Hello. Yeah, nice to be here virtually.
Thanks, Ruth. Yeah. So look, we had this idea because look, you've been helping me for years now with my marketing. And last week we did some work with Belcourt, and what we thought we were going to be doing and what we ended up doing obviously were two different things because of this COVID-19 pandemic and situation that we're in. And there was a lot of really good conversations that came out of that about what we should be doing as a business in terms of talking to clients through this process. And I thought that it would be really worthwhile sharing that information with other local businesses in terms of how they can be marketing during this as well.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one, and it's no one in marketing has ever experienced this before, so everybody's kind of doing it off the cuff, and we're kind of trialing it as it goes along. But unprecedented is the word that everyone is banging around at the minute, because there is nothing like this. And the one thing it has kind of done is pushed people online more, because people are craving information, and therefore online is a really great place for your business to start, even if it's just putting up videos like the brilliant videos that Finlays and Sons have been doing about their social distancing and stuff.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it feels organic, it feels natural, but it's also super informative, and it's also a little bit funny, and that's kind of, we need a laugh every now and again, don't we, with this? So you know, businesses have not seen anything like this since the GFC, and we haven't got to the point of knowing how dramatic it's going to get, especially in Australia at the moment. So all we're doing is watching and learning from all of the other countries and seeing kind of how they're approaching things and how they're doing things. But also kind of from a media point of view, there's been incredible camaraderie online, and it's kind of sparked so much stuff that people can utilize and kind of take and use. And it's just, you know, it's exciting from that point of view, even though we're all kind of going to be holed up in our homes and going a bit stir crazy. So there's lots of things that we can try and inform people on. So it's exciting in a very scary time at the minute.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. There's a lot of innovation that's coming out from necessity, but I think that's going to take us to a place that we won't back away from. You know, I saw this beautiful post where it said, well, if you can choose your spouse virtually, you can choose your house virtually, you know. So
it's all true though. It's definitely going to change the face of how small businesses in particular market, because it's going to be quite strange to go back to fairly traditional ways of marketing, because you know, it's going to be weird even kind of shaking people's hands after 6 months. It's going to take quite a lot of kind of mental time to reverse some of the things that have kind of been going on, because they'll be so inherent in us to not touch or kind of not go and see someone, that it's going to feel natural to do these types of things, and kind of constantly looking at yourself on camera going, okay, do my eye bags look like that already? Or, you know, it's going to become normal that people kind of go, yeah, hi, I've got nothing on, I've got no pants on underneath, but I'm kind of fine up here, so we're all good, right?
Or you're wearing your glasses to cover your eye bags.
Absolutely. That's even more intelligent.
I'm really looking forward to what I'm going to look like in 3 months' time. Not yes. So Ruth, if you're a small local business, what is the one thing that people should be doing with their marketing right now?
Right now, it's just about being present. And that is 9 times out of 10 online. It could be if your business is just doing takeaway only, then you've got some, you know, handwritten thing saying we're doing takeaway only, call this number, whatever it is. But people just need to know that, one, you're still around, even if your shop is physically shut, or you're doing takeaway only if you're a restaurateur or a coffee shop or something like that. So it's just about being present and letting people know exactly what you're doing. If your opening hours have changed, if the way that you are working has changed, you know, there's going to be a lot of gift shops and things that obviously people can't go in and browse. It's kind of, you know, a crazy thing to kind of think that in a few months' time we'll be able to go and browse things. And so what we need to do with that is just tell people where they can browse. And obviously if they browse online, then that's cool. And it's the obvious place to be. So it's just about being present. So wherever your channels are best for you, whether that's social media, whether that's on your website, or whether that's on an email list, just tell people kind of what's going on in your day, because they're just as weirded out as everybody else, because their whole life has completely changed. And if they're anything like me, I'm working my business from home, which I normally do, so this is totally normal for me, but I have my 2 toddlers at home and I have a husband at home, and it's kind of all a bit, oh, okay, this is fun. Right? So it's just kind of tell people that as well. You know, people want the humanity of it. They want to know that you're not kind of perfectly doing everything. It changes on a daily basis what we're dealing with right now, and people just want to know that, 1, you're in the same boat, and 2, you're still kind of doing what you're doing, and the services that you have are still there. It's just you're changing them slightly, and that's the reality of it.
No, agreed. So for businesses that are still, small businesses that are still open and operating, and it's been really sad to see businesses closing each day, but for those that are still open and operating, what are your top 3 tips for them before we go into lockdown? Because it's going to happen, isn't it? I mean, we all, you know, I think my conspiracy theory is they're just making it so crap that we're all going to start screaming for it. So what are your top 3 tips before we go into total lockdown?
I think most people are probably doing this already, but just kind of start preparing yourself. You know, people, it's a really weird thing to compare this to this right now, but you know, people weeks ago stockpiling their toilet rolls. Come on, people. But it's those type of people that are kind of going, I must be prepared, I must do this, and I must have all of the pasta in the entire world in my cupboards. And although that's a very extreme way of looking at it, as a business, you need to start thinking, what do I need to do to work from home? You know, you've got a laptop, you've got a phone, all of those really, really simple things, but what else do you need? Do you need to take photography of your products, for example, if you are a retail space? It's just all about thinking about how you can run your business in whatever kind of fashion that is going to end up being, because you're working from home. It's just thinking about all of those eventualities. So do you need to kind of get some help setting up at home, for example, while we still can kind of do that safely? Second thing is kind of, which I touched upon earlier, I'm really good at over talking, is just letting your customers know what the score is. So a really good example of that is I saw Mandy at home on Central Ave, and obviously she is an art and retail space, and it's a, you know, tricky time for anybody in that kind of environment. So she had this lovely poster made up saying, hey, we're doing like rock star shopping sessions, which is awesome because it's the total one-on-one, got hand sanitizer on the desk, I can, you know, we can do the social distancing, but I can give you that environment to be able to do what you need to do in the time that we can still do that. And then she's giving all of the other options. So call me, you know, come online. I'm getting everything online. It's just telling people how they can still support you in these kind of really, and it's, you know, they're difficult times, but they're just weird times, because we can still kind of go and do stuff but the internet's enabling us to do so much more, and to be able to support smaller businesses that maybe need our help a little bit more at this point in time. So that's number two. And number three, already done number two. Number three is kind of think about how you would want to know about the situation yourself, because it's a really easy way to kind of go, if I'm craving this information, then my customers probably are too. And it's a really easy way to kind of get into the mentality of being able to break down what you want to communicate really simply, because if it makes sense to you and you can spell it out like you're talking to a 5-year-old, it's not to say be condescending when you're doing it, but if you can break it down so that anyone can understand it, then the chances are you're going to reach all of the people that you need to reach, and it will be clear in your communication as to kind of what you're doing and what you're doing right now and what you're going to be doing in 6 weeks' time, when God knows what's going to be happening. It's all, the essence of it is about being helpful. If you can help your customers help you by making it super easy or super clear as to what's happening in your shop, in your business right now, then it's easier for them to be able to support you.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing you say is just be mindful about what's happening, and, you know, think about the context of what you're communicating, and understanding, you know, where people are at that you're communicating to, that they're anxious, that they're afraid, that they're seeking information, connection, advice, support, all of those kinds of things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And in the context of helpful, next time we do this, it would be helpful if I stuck a sign on my lounge room door saying recording in progress, please don't walk in.
Keeping it real, man. That's all it is. Just keeping it real.
You know, I can hear the boys having showers, you know.
You can maybe put some lift music behind to kind of blast out all of the exterior noises that we've got going on.
So we've just talked about things to do before you shut down or before we go into lockdown. Unfortunately, there's already a plethora, and it just breaks my heart, of small businesses, you know, who have already decided to shut down. You know, like I look at my hairdresser and they've gone, right, we might still be able to cut hair, but we don't feel safe cutting hair because there's stuff out like that. There's Nick from the Pearl in Highgate, who is much older, and it's just too much of a risk personally for him because of his age to keep trading, and he just needs to sit and wait that out. So we are going to be taking a break from his amazing pies and cakes for the time being, which is really sad. But if you've got no turnover and nothing to sell online, you know, and you want to reopen your business at the end of this, what 3 things should you be doing?
It's a really tough one, and I think you need to obviously do all the things that we've mentioned before, so kind of just letting everybody know what the situation is, preparing for that as and when you can, because emotionally when you shut a shop or when you shut a business, it's hard, and there are so many reasons why it's not fair right now, and but people do have to think about their safety and the financial implication long term. But long term is the first place I would start, is we need to think long term. So short term, very much so keeping everyone informed on what's going on. If you're making the decision to shut but stay open, then you just need to communicate that very, very simply, and also just keep being in people's lives, whether that's just weekly or daily. If you're really into social media, then that's cool. It's just making people realize that you're still around, and this is what your plan is right now. But right now we're taking a weird isolation holiday, so that's cool. Again, it's getting your ducks in a row. It's trying not to kind of panic about the short term, which is really kind of nuts for me to say, but you know, financial stuff aside, just try not to panic that you're going to lose all of your customers because you're having to take a 2-week, 4-week, 6-week, however many months times whatever that scale looks like. It's maybe thinking about passively what you can do to create an income. You know, we touched upon earlier the kind of very creative things that are coming out online. So one of the things that's an amazing story is this guy, Joe Wicks, who does PE with Joe, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he's an English dude. And he goes live 9 o'clock every morning and does half an hour of PE for the kids. And it's a killer, by the way. But he's making an enormous amount of money from YouTube, from the advertising right now, to which he's, you know, he clearly has enough money as an individual anyway. So he's donating that all to the local and national hospitals in the UK, which is obviously going to bolster his appeal enormously. It's going to help his business exponentially in terms of what he's doing. I'm not saying everybody is going to be a multi-million pound or dollar, you know, service provider, but he's kind of he's seen a need, and it's his niche, and he's been able to go for it, and people have gone for it. And it's those sorts of things. And I'm not saying you're going to make a ton of money from it, but it could be something that passively just keeps you ticking over by telling people what you're doing, how you're doing it, and kind of what services you've got. And that can work across service providers as well as kind of retail space, because you can showcase your new products that are coming up for whenever you reopen. You know, all of that you can talk around. So that's kind of probably 2 in 1, because it is kind of just preparing. Try not to panic, but just think about a marketing strategy and also a content strategy that works over the next couple of months, because we're basically talking short term. Probably the next 3 months is very much fly by the seat of your pants. Let's take every day as it comes, and we just talk about how we're feeling, what we're doing, and where we hope to be in a couple of months. And then after this period where we're all allowed outside again, and we're all allowed to kind of touch people, when toilet rolls are back in stock, then you can start thinking, right, well, it's almost a bit of a rebuild. How do I do this? Because I'm so used to doing videos now, is that something I can just incorporate into what I'm doing more? Think about what you're comfortable with as well. I mean, some people can, like me, I can talk the legs off a donkey when I start going, but it's, you know, some people won't find it as comfortable in front of a camera. So it's finding what you're comfortable with. Practical things. If you have a website, if you're a retail space and you have a website, clean it up, you know, have a look, get rid of some stock that isn't selling so much, have an audit of your business in general, regardless of whether you're kind of selling physical items or not. Have an audit of the website, maybe rewrite a few things that are in context for right now. I mean, your homepage, for example, is a really good place to start, and just say, hey, due to all this craziness, this is what's happening, this is what we're doing. If you're kind of thinking, how the hell am I going to keep my customers, and I don't have an email list? Well, heck, let's just start one, right? You know, start being present, start thinking about all those jobs that you kind of go, oh, I don't, you know, I'm not really sure how to do this or not how to do this. And now's the opportunity to be able to kind of look into it a bit more and just start. And that's a lot with a lot of marketing, is just start it. See where it goes, see what picks up, see what doesn't. If you've got an email list already, it's probably a really good time to have a cleanup of it and see kind of who's opening, who's not. Just go through and have a little bit of a spring clean of all of your marketing things, whatever that looks like. And the last thing, again, we go back to being present. Just kind of carry on doing what you're doing, but just find a way that you're comfortable of communicating with the people that you need to talk to. Just do it.
Yeah. Ruth, you're going to have to give me 2 seconds, because the dog's locked in the lounge and he wants to scratch the crap out the door. And write yourself a checklist before you start to do your Zoom. I thought I was doing well forwarding my phone, but...
That's hilarious. Bless him. I thought I could hear something scrabbling around, and I was like, oh, okay.
Get the pets out.
It's a bit like the children. You need to get the children out as well.
Yeah. No, well, that's they're in their rooms, but you can't stop them moving around the house, you know. But I should do the whole, don't move for half an hour till I come and tell you to.
Dogs could just sit still and not move. Meet a few cats. They'll be fun.
Well, at least we're following the advice of keeping it real. You know, these are the challenges of, you know, home office environment.
Absolutely.
Trying to work from home.
Absolutely.
So, you know, so how are you? Finally, Ruth, how are you going to be continuing to market and have conversations with your clients? And I just picked up on that thing around conversations because, you know, obviously I'm fortunate. I have got a database. I've kept that through all through real estate. I've got about 1,600 people that I email every week, you know, with my weekly kind of newsletter, but the content of that has always been heavily focused as well. But I think the lesson for me is also to pick up the phone. You know, like I really appreciated my hairdresser giving me a call the other week. She's putting a little home colour kit together for me. I'm really, really hoping she's going to give me instructions on how to cut my fringe. It's just going to look crap by the end. I am, you know, I've been digging out scarves and hats and all sorts of stuff, you know, to see what I can be doing and wearing through the period. But just those little bits of reaching out, I think, like I really appreciated those, and I think there's really good lessons for me in terms of doing the same. Yeah. But so how are you going to continue to market and carry on having conversations with people and reaching out to existing and potentially new clients over the next few months?
It's it just comes down to being here and being aware and everybody knowing it. And from my point of view, it's really good building time for me. So again, exactly what I'm saying to everybody with their businesses, it's kind of get your ducks in a row, think about what you want to do long term. You know, for me, I just want to connect with the people I already connect with, but also connect with, you know, you want to make new friends. It's no coincidence that there's this app called House Party, and it's gone nuts over the past like 48 hours. And like, I joined because someone said, hey, you know, it's really cool. And it basically, you put it on and it's whoever is around the vicinity, you can literally have a house party. And it's just gone absolutely nuts in my particular world at the minute. And how cool is that? I mean, people are craving already. People are craving human interaction, and they want to see your face and they want to hear your voice. And if you're a little bit introverted like me, it's kind of like, oh, phone calls, don't want to do that, I want to do email all the time. You know, things change, and you're gonna get to the point of going, hi, I'm gonna talk to the mailman from behind the door because I'm so desperate to talk to someone and see their face. And that's kind of, from my point of view, it's, I want to be helpful. I want to be able to help people and share what I know at this point in time, which is kind of, you know, being helpful and trying to give people ideas on what they can do, and being kind. You know, you want to be able to share what you know, because if that helps a small business get through something, a particular situation that they're in, not just the overall, hey, we're all in COVID-19 and it's nuts out there. It's kind of like, you know, how do I set up an email marketing list? I have no idea. How do I talk to people? What tone of voice should I use? All of those types of things are kind of overwhelming when you're already in an overwhelming situation, kind of personally and professionally. So kind of adding the pressure of going, oh my God, I have to be present online and I have to do this, is just more pressure that some people are just going to be like, I'm out of here, I can't quite do this. And that's the other thing is to say is that, you know, that's part of being real. If you're not comfortable with doing it, then just put a post up saying, I'm really not comfortable doing this. I'm trying to work it out right now. And that's also totally cool, because you're being present, you're telling people exactly what's going on. And, you know, be kind to yourself. It's just, you know, we're all trying to be kind to everybody else, but also give yourself a bit of a break as well. And if you need to step back from the business because you've decided to scale down, to shut the shop, to, you know, reevaluate everything, on top of being a little bit scared, because, you know, personally, this is quite a scary place to be right now. You know, it's about being kind and on lots and lots of different levels, and do what you've got to do. If you feel confident in kind of going out of your comfort zone a little bit, then, you know, do some videos and put them online and, you know, talk about your kind of weird house arrest type situation, if you're in that situation right now, which we have personally chosen to kind of withdraw from the community. So it's, you know, it's hard, and I think we just it's such a unique situation that there is no right or wrong way to do things. It's just about being honest with people and kind of going, I'm really freaked out, or I'm really worried, or you know, I'm trying this new thing and I'm actually quite excited about it. So it's all about giving yourself a break and kind of just taking baby steps with stuff. And if you're kind of excited about new things, like I'm really excited about my new podcast microphone, which I have. You know, it's things like this. So for me personally, I've talked around it, but essentially for me, I'm just going to be online a bit more. I've got a couple of projects which it doesn't matter particularly that this is going on right now, and that's really cool, so I can just carry on with those. But essentially I want to be online a bit more. I want to kind of share stuff, and I want to make pretty graphics because that's what I like doing best. So yeah, that's me. I'm going to stop talking now.
No, it's wonderful. You know, like, and your stuff that you're talking about online, I think, you know, I can fall into that kind of thing of wanting to be a perfectionist, and you get worried. I mean, I'm 50 now. I give a lot less sort of F's about, you know, what people think, but I think there's a lot of that fear and hesitation about fear of being judged or fear of not doing it well, and you know, you're not going to create something that's as perfect as someone else. I don't think people care. I think and like I had a client the other day, or buyer the other day, that came through a house, private inspection, and their property's on the market and their agent hadn't done a video, and they're like, but Nat, you've got video walkthroughs for all of yours. So I'm like, yeah, and they're not great. I actually reshot a few on the weekend because I kind of watched some others and thought, well, that's a really good idea. So whilst I'm still allowed around, I'll run out and I'll reshoot the ones that I've done.
Yeah.
And there's nothing that stops you from doing it. But the thing is, people watch them. They watch those in order to make a decision about whether a property was going to suit or not. And they're like, oh, well, our agent's really reluctant to do it. You've got to do it. You know, like it's there. You know, that's about helping people get a result. I think you just got to start. I think you just got to set aside the fear. The genuine clients that are going to be attracted to you are going to be attracted to you. And those that are not with you when you message, maybe they're not your tribe, maybe they're not your clients anyway.
Absolutely. And I think there's a massive thing also, there's a massive kickback online about things being too polished as well, because it feels fake, and therefore you know, there's just a huge backlash, which is why stories and lives are so popular, because you can pop them up there. They take 24 hours. If you don't like it, they're gone. You don't have to save it. You don't have to do anything with it. It's a really good way to introduce people who are a little bit apprehensive about kind of being online and showing yourself. There's also massive stats around once you do show yourself, the reactions that you get, because people are wanting to see your face. They want to see how you talk, how you walk, what you do. You know, they want to see you waving in the mirror when you're doing a walkthrough.
You've watched okay.
Yeah, exactly. Just do a bit of a you know, Japanese Instagram holiday around someone's home. But it's you know, there's something authentic about that, and there is something authentic about seeing kind of bloopers. Everyone loves a blooper, don't they? But it's those types of things, and it's baby steps into something to make you feel more comfortable. And the more I think that people are going to be at home doing stuff, I think the more that you'll get used to, like, using WhatsApp to video your friends, or using Zoom and having a party, or going on house party and having a house party. You know, all of those things are going to become more normal. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't actually mind chatting to the phone whilst I'm walking down the street to deliver something to the post office, because it will become second nature. And that's kind of one of the silver linings of this situation, is that it forces people to be more innovative, and it forces them to think outside the box. And it's really great to kind of look at how other people are handling it and going, yeah, that's totally not what I would do, or actually that's amazing, I'm gonna see, you know, if I can do something similar. And the online community as a whole is a very rich place as it is anyway, good, bad, all of the indifferent things, but it's also a place where you can really learn and grow, and you know, everyone's going to find their own little way of doing stuff, and your clients are either going to love it or not love it. And that's, you know, that's the thing about being a service-based provider. They're either going to look at your face and go, nah, yeah, nah, or they're just going to be like, I love you, I love what you're saying, you know, I like how you're doing stuff and how you do business. And it's just going to be the new norm, I think, for us. So it's interesting days. I've noticed, just because I'm looking at myself hugely on the camera, that I'm touching my face and touching my hair and doing this with my nose, and I feel like I need to get some gel now. And
hand sanitizer. Ruth, thank you so much. Wow, wonderful to chat to you, and thanks for sharing those ideas, and hopefully people find them helpful, and let's think of an excuse and some inspiration to do another one soon.
No problem. See you soon.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.